So the first thing I want to say is Donald Trump's not a very smart man. Like, it may be that he is suffering from some kind of mental decline due to age. It may just be that he was never smart. But, like, just sitting here as a Democrat, Republicans control both houses of Congress and the White House. If he wants to say that they don't get to pass a new reconciliation bill because they can't pass the SAVE Act, like, okay, like, don't pass any more terrible bills. Who are you threatening with this? But to get to your point, the reason why this is not going to pass the Senate is for the reasons that the Senate Majority Leader said. They don't have the votes, right? They don't have enough Republican votes to do away with the filibuster. They don't have enough Republican votes to impose a talking filibuster, although if they did, that still wouldn't succeed. And they don't have Democratic votes to add to their numbers in sufficient amounts in order to pass this bill. So the bill's not going to pass. And you don't have to take my opinion for this. You know who has said this? John Thune. John Thune, the majority leader, has told Donald Trump, including today, that they don't have the votes. So why is it still dangerous? It is still dangerous because Donald Trump escalates. He does this all the time. He escalates from rhetoric to more extreme rhetoric to courts to violence. Okay, that's the progression. Rhetoric to more extreme rhetoric to courts to violence. We saw this in 2020. We saw this about immigration, right? We saw rhetoric about immigrants. We saw more extreme rhetoric about immigrants. We saw litigation about what he was doing. And then we saw the paramilitary forces on the streets of Minneapolis engaged in violence. So we've seen this over and over again. And right now we are in the rhetoric phase, right? Rhetoric and now more extreme rhetoric. We will soon get to the courts when he tries to put in place an unconstitutional executive order. When that fails, we know what comes next.
And Mark, where do you see this latest effort in Maricopa County fitting into this escalation?
Oh, you can see it. I mean, it's plain as day, right? They seized ballots in Fulton County, Georgia. They have now, through subpoena, gotten access to ballots from Maricopa County. Note they're not getting them statewide, right? They're not seeking to get all of the Georgia ballots or all of the Arizona ballots. They're targeting blue cities. In the same way that when Donald Trump said he wanted Republicans to take over voting, what did he say next? He said there are 15 places or so, right? And in a later comment, he, I think, listed Detroit, Philadelphia, and Atlanta. And so the reason why this plays into it is because he is setting up the permission structure among his base and among people who are not paying attention, that when he is not able to get the ballots in Detroit or Philadelphia or some other county because they say no or the courts won't give him what he wants, that he will then have the excuse to send in the FBI, to send in ATF, to send in CPB, to send in, ICE, whoever it is, whatever federal agency it is, to seize the ballots.
I just will note he got a subpoena for this one. Like, it's not like he is going through legal channels, using air quotes for the people at home, to do this, just like in Fulton County. If they'll do this for elections that happened 6 years ago, Michael Steele, what the hell do people think is going to happen this November?
Mark and I have been the two bald guys with our hair on fire for over a year about a lot of this, which is probably why we're bald, because we burned all our hair off trying to get people to understand exactly what the end game is here. And the end game is exactly the 2026 elections. It is exactly what Mark just described, and that is getting access to ballot boxes regardless of what state law says, what the Constitution says, what Congress says, what anybody says. Donald Trump will move with impunity. He will charge or discharge that responsibility to his FBI and other agents of government. To that end, Mark, you have been on the front line of lawsuits, so you've been at that in that timeline you laid out, going through the hot rhetoric, going through the legal process, and having to deal with the ramifications from the violence and the cleanup after that. What do you see as potential counterpunches? Are those also being set up? We've had conversations, and we will again this evening with secretaries of state about the process and what they're going through in their preparation. What are you seeing right now on the ground around the country, as you just described, what is to come? How are those states getting prepared for that, in your view? And are you comfortable or satisfied with what you're seeing so far?
So a couple of things. The first is that we are seeing preparations. And, the fact that I lay out what Donald Trump is going to do doesn't mean he's going to succeed, right? Like, he didn't succeed in 2020.
That's important.
And the fact is he didn't succeed in 2022, and we were prepared in 2024 and we'll be prepared in 2026. So there's a lot of preparation going on. As you point out, secretaries of state and governors and AGs are doing their part. My law firm and I, we are currently litigating more than 90 cases in 45 states, which is an incredible number given the size of our firm and given how early it is in the cycle. And there are other groups and law firms that are also fighting by our side. So we are seeing the preparations on our side. What I do worry about, and it's the reason why I love, people don't realize Michael and I text with one another because he and I really do see the world very similar to one another. And one of the things you and I talk about is I worry that too many of the large institutions of this country, parts of the network media that perhaps is being bought by wealthy families, or the parts of the legal establishment, law firms that are not fighting back. Like, we're not seeing the level of urgency there that we need, because everyone needs to be prepared for what's going to happen, but they also need to understand that it is happening so that it doesn't come as a surprise. So it's one of the reasons why you and I lay it out, step by step now, so that when people see it, they're like, oh, yes, okay, this is what we were told, and now there's going to be a plan to fight it back.